On Used Bike Heaven this week, we're with Darren Rodd. He's looking for a custom cruiser, and we've got 3 beauties for him to choose from. Gary will be in the workshop as always. We'll have another used bike review and more advice from the used bike buying market. This is Darren Rodd. He's a 35-year-old company director from Wigan who runs his own bearing company. Darren's been riding bikes since he was a boy, and his present machine is a VFR 750. He says he feels the need to slow down a little now and likes the idea of relaxing on a big, comfy custom cruiser.
Well, welcome to the show, and this is Darren. Now, Darren, what's this about you trading a VFR for a cruiser bike? Have you gone soft or something?
Really, it's just a case there's that much traffic on the road now. I want to try slowing down a bit. You know, I've thought about it for many years and thought I'd give it a try.
Right. Okay. Well, what do you use your bike for? Do you use it for work or?
A little bit, yeah. I have a company car, so I don't have to rely on it through the winter or whatever.
Yeah.
Bit of fun, bit of commuting from work.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Get the missus on the back.
Sometimes, yeah.
Is that anything to do with it?
Yeah, she's a little bit up in the wind on the VFR, and you know, I think something like this might just give her another edge on the.
Right, well we've got 3 bikes here for you. We've got the Intruder, we've got the Drifter and we've got the Harley Davidson. What are your first impressions on these 3?
I mean, they're all much of a muchness. I mean, I suppose you look at it, a cruiser, it's very much a personal taste.
Yeah. The Harley is a little bit kind of petite in comparison though,
It is really, yeah. I like the dimensions of these. I mean, they're huge.
Well,
they're
you're
really,
a tall bloke as well, aren't you? So it's,
very delicately put.
Yes,
Yeah.
I thought so. So you like the look of them then?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Right.
I do, I like that.
Okay, have you ever ridden anything like this before?
Once or twice, but nothing as big.
Okay.
Nothing as big. They've always been the little Viragos, stuff like this, you
Yeah.
know, but I like the thought of the big thumping engine, you know, and it's big V-twin.
Yeah.
Bit of noise.
Fantastic. Right, so have you got a budget?
Yeah, it was really around about 6, perhaps 7,000.
Oh right, so we're right into those. I mean, funnily enough, this is 6. This is 6.5, and the Harley's actually 7. So you know, I don't know if that might play on your mind looking at that Harley.
Yeah.
So before we let you loose on them,
Yep.
which we're about to do, we're going to go to Richard, who's going to give you some facts and figures on all 3.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Our first bike this week, Darren, is a Harley Davidson 1200 Sportster. It may not be exactly what you have in mind when you think of a custom cruiser, but perhaps you will be tempted by this famous American marque. The Sportster name has been around since 1985, and this week we're offering you this 2001 bike on a Y-plate. It's covered just over 2,500 miles, and as you'd expect from a pre-owned Harley, it is in pristine condition. It is the most expensive of this week's trio, with a price tag of £7,000. Next up then is Kawasaki's 1500cc Drifter, said by some to be a strange blend of retro and custom. It certainly has the right lines to be in the cruiser class, but the lack of chrome isn't to everyone's liking. The model was only introduced in 1999 and has therefore had a fairly short lifespan, having been discontinued in the January of 2002. Maybe that is an indication of its popularity. But beauty is, after all, in the eye of the beholder. And this week you could take away this 2001 model, which is an import showing just under 6,000 kilometres, for £6,500. And finally this week, a bike which most definitely is a true custom cruiser, Suzuki's 1500LC Intruder. If it's shiny chrome and a huge presence on the road that you're looking for, Darren, then this could be just the ticket. Introduced in '98, this 1462cc V-twin has all the style and panache that you'll ever need. This particular example is a year 2000 bike, and again, it's an import. It's covered less than 1,000 kilometres, and you can take this away, Darren, for just £6,000.
Well, thanks for that, Richard. So, Darren, you've heard some facts and figures about all 3. We're going to set you off on the Harley first off. to get it out of the way, because I've got a feeling you're not so keen.
It's a little bit upright, isn't it? It's a bit narrow and a bit girly.
It is a little bit girly.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do this one.
No, go on, I'll have a go.
All right then. Yeah. Well, you get your kit on and your keys are in.
Yeah, lovely.
And tell us what you think.
Right.
All right. So while Darren's getting his kit on, here's Richard with this week's used bike test.
Now, this may come as a bit of a surprise to you, but I'm not an especially big, tough guy. So I thought I was in need of a bit of a boost, something to build me up a bit. This should do the trick. It's the Yamaha Vmax, and it's butcher than Australian rules football in winter on a concrete pitch in your pants. The riding experience isn't, as you would expect it to be, subtle, not by any means. It's more of a rocket-propelled tractor kind of experience. Rigid, brutal, fast, and very difficult to persuade to go around corners. So much so that one tyre manufacturer has even developed a tyre specifically for the Vmax. It's not light either. At 262 kilograms, it weighs more than the enormous Dragstar. That's a very heavy bike indeed. That said, once on the move, it feels relatively light. But let's not get carried away. This is not a 400cc sports machine. This is a big, fast drag bike. It's one of those weird facts, and I don't know how it's done it, but somehow the Vmax has managed to be around pretty much forever. Think of the first time you ever saw one, and that's when you realise how long they have been here. About the mid-80s they first launched on the scene, and if you look at it, it's barely changed apart from a few tweaks to the front end. This was pretty much the bike you would have bought to impress your mates in the mid-80s. I can't think of many other bikes that have been around that long, and if you put it into context, in the mid-80s the other bikes were things like, I don't know, GPZ 900. How dated does that look now? Whereas this, somehow it's kind of grown into itself. It still looks pretty sharp, and it still is dedicated to one single task, and that is catapulting you and your beer gut from 0 to illegal miles an hour in as short a time as possible. It is devoted to that and nothing else. A V4 1.2 litre cc engine and a riding position that's rugged and practical. Bolt upright there with my back and the bars there to steady me and hopefully keep me on board, and my legs, I'm just sitting on the engine. It's really quite a strange feeling. Yeah, I've got to be fairly brave, because when you approach one of these things, all anybody does is chuck you on the shoulder and say things like, "Good luck, mate, you'll be all right." It is a bit scary. Fuel, if you're wondering why there's a big gap here, fuel is under here. And I've got to, obviously Vmax riders aren't worried about breaking a nail, it's a bit fiddly. There we go. My fuel filler is located in there. That keeps the centre of gravity low, but that's a bit misleading, because this isn't a bike when you're worried about things like centre of gravity and cornering. You're going in one direction, straight ahead, hopefully. If you think you've got the nuts for it and are really tempted by a Vmax, you'll pick one up from around 3,000 to 6,400 quid new. Yes, they do still make them after all these years. Whilst the looks really haven't dated that badly, the riding experience has.
Welcome back. Well, Darren has returned with the Harley. You've not been very long.
No, I've not been very long.
What did you think?
Unusual.
Yeah,
it
in
really
what
is
way?
an unusual thing. The power's either on or off.
Yeah.
There's no way of getting it in smoothly.
Right.
And it feels an awful lot more upright.
Yeah.
Than anything I've got. You know, it really is sort of you sat well up into it.
Yeah. Are you looking for something that's very kind of cruisy style?
I want to be laid back.
Do you?
Yeah. I like the thought of it. Just chill.
Yeah. So I mean, power delivery. That's
power delivery. A lot of grunt there.
Yeah.
There really is. It makes a lovely sound.
Yeah. The Harleys are.
Yeah.
A tourist, aren't they?
Green factor, I don't know. It's more of a fright factor, as I say. It's really on or off. You know? It's a strange ride. I think it'd take some getting used to.
So it's not what you would classically say is a cruiser custom style bike.
It's more of a sportster.
Yeah.
It really. I mean, for that type of market, it really fits the bill. But it's not. I don't think what I'm looking for.
What about brakes and things?
Much of a muchness. Clutch very, very heavy. Brakes, you've got to really give it a fistful to sort of haul it up and stop. I don't know really how you'd grade them, because I've not ridden that many customs to put it on, but perhaps in a minute.
Well, we're going to see to that now, because if you walk this way, we have the Drifter. Bit of a big daddy, this one.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Yeah, the smiles come straight back on your face.
Yep.
Is this more what you're looking for?
Yeah, definitely. It's low, it's long, big engine.
Yeah, 1500. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you want to hop on board, and the keys are just down there,
Lovely.
so it's a long reach for it. It's a good job you're a big bloke. So while Darren's off on the Drifter, we're over to Gaz, who's in his workshop.
If you're visiting your local breaker for a certain part for your bike, you'd be amazed at the interchangeability between parts. But let's ask a man who knows. Julian, how are you doing? What's all this lot here?
It's Fireblade, Gary. Honda Fireblade, X11, CBR 600.
Yeah.
They're all interchangeable, exactly the same switches, just a different length of wire.
Even down to that at the bottom?
It's even the same connection.
Same connectors, same colour
Yes.
wires as well.
Yes.
So they're all interchangeable. What about these?
Again, petrol caps, CBR 600,
Right.
Fireblade, exactly the same. No difference at all.
Excellent, excellent. What about other manufacturers?
Wheels.
Wheels, yeah.
Suzuki 600, GSXR 600 is the same front wheel as a 750, the Hayabusa, the TLR 1000, the TLS 1000. In fact, the other day, somebody came down, a customer came down, requesting a wheel for a Blackbird.
Yeah, yeah.
Fuel injected, 99, and he went away with a CBR 600 FX 99. And here's another example.
Calipers?
Yes, Suzuki 4-pot Nissan,
Yeah.
Tokiko, Suzuki 6-pot. Exactly the same.
Oh yeah, the mounting plates are the same.
Yes. Kawasaki 6-pot, Suzuki 6-pot. They will interchange. In fact, they're identical.
You wouldn't know the difference, would you?
You wouldn't.
So that's Suzuki, that's off Kawasaki?
Yes.
Amazing. Superb that. So there is quite a lot of stuff out there that is interchangeable between manufacturers and models as well.
There is, yes.
Superb. Bit of a smart ass on the quiet, aren't you? You do know quite a lot, don't you?
It's years of experience.
I can imagine, yeah. So would you say that it would be best if people brought the part down with them that they wanted to change?
Yes, or telephone.
Or telephone first and talk to you?
Yes.
Talk to the man who knows, basically?
Please, yes.
I mean, if they bring the part down, they can actually, you can feel it, you can touch it, you can walk around the parts bin and have a look.
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Gary.
So that's it for part one. Join us in part two when Darren will hopefully be back with the Drifter and we'll be sending him off on the Intruder. See you then. Welcome back to Used Bike Heaven. Now, if you were with us in part one, you'll already know that we're on the lookout for a custom cruiser with Darren here. And we've sent him out on the Harley and you've just returned with the Drifter. What did you think?
What a different bike.
I
What a
bet.
different
We couldn't
bike.
get more different really to the Harley, could it?
Low, laid back,
Yep.
very, very smooth engine delivery. Everybody skips the brakes as far as customs go, and
Yeah.
you know, I mean, they're a big, heavy bikes. I
Yeah.
mean, you're going to anyway. But
And that's
but
the
yeah,
thing, if
it's-
you're making the transition from sports bike to cruiser,
I'm used to stopping on a penny.
Exactly.
But I mean, you get used to it. You
Yeah.
do get used to it.
Yeah.
Wonderful floorboards.
They are
different
very good,
feel.
aren't they?
Different
Yeah.
feel altogether. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it. I do.
really?
Not so sure about the styling. Like a 50s Indian, as I say, you know, big spats on the wheels and
Yeah.
you know, a lot of black chrome on it. But
Yes.
yeah, the actual feel of the bike's fantastic.
Yeah. So now wait, because obviously these are big, I mean, a big fat tank, you know, I mean, how does that feel when you kind of, you know,
It's
round,
really
round,
steady.
About? Is
It's
it?
really, really steady. It
Yeah.
just holds its line very well. Just sways, you know, and it's a different way of riding the bike
Yeah.
altogether.
You are
the Har-
going laid back.
I am. The Harley Davidson is it's a lot more sports bike.
Yeah.
You've got to sort of throw it into a corner.
Yeah.
You know, you really have got to work the bike.
Ride it hard.
It does it all for you, and I like that. I do.
Good. Well, I think we've said all we need to say about this one for now, but we have the Intruder, which I personally feel is the prettiest of the three.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I mean, it's
I'd
got
agree.
lovely colour scheme.
Yeah,
Love the wheels. So, what do you think?
It's fantastic.
Yeah?
Shaft drive again. A lot of chrome, as you say, wonderful
Yeah.
two-tone.
Yeah.
It's a looker. It's got a hardtail look with a monoshock suspension, so
Yeah.
it's got the looks definitely. It just depends whether it'll perform.
Then hop on and let us know if it'll perform.
I shall.
Okay, enjoy. And while Darren's off on the third and final test, here's Richard with some advice if you're thinking of dabbling in the used bike market.
This week's tips are not so much about buying a used bike as they are about selling one. The reason being, when you come to buy your next used bike, the odds are you'll be part exchanging your current bike. Another point that could make a big difference when it comes time to part ex your bike is the paint job. Many sports bikes today are adorned with glorious race replica colour schemes, and whilst it is a great way to stand out from the crowd, be warned. Whilst some will go on to become instant classics of the future, others, well, they'll date badly. I mean, it looked great with Niall Mackenzie on board in his days with British Superbike, but do you really want to ride it down your high street on a Saturday? And then there are the paint jobs that are, well, let's say down to personal taste. Bear in mind that not everyone shares your view of the world, so stick to poetry for your self-expression and lay off those herbal smokes. In short, when it comes time to part ex your bike, get it clean. Remember that any extras should be useful and you should have evidence that they've been properly fitted. Take with you as well certificates for any extra security features you've had fitted, and think before you have it painted to match your favourite pizza, eh?
Thank you, Richard. Well, as you can see, Darren is back with the Intruder, and you look very happy. What did you think?
Excellent ride. It's a good package. Very, very similar ride to the VN.
Yeah.
The engine's a little bit lumpy.
Right.
It's just wonderful. The hands just fall where you want them to fall.
Yeah.
You know, it's very
Braking
comfortable.
a little better on this.
I don't know whether it's that or whether I'm getting used to them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Thinking half an hour before a roundabout.
Yeah.
Now this is quite a bit lower than that.
Yeah, it is.
Is it a bit too low? Because how tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
Yeah, so is it a bit low or is
no,
it?
surprisingly not.
Right.
I mean, your feet are far forward.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a huge brake pedal there. Huge gear lever.
Yeah.
It's just everything falls to hand. Everything
Yeah.
just feels right.
Yeah.
You know.
Is the clutch? What's the clutch?
Very light.
Yeah.
Very light. As I said, my only comment is the front wheels are very, very bulbous tyre on it. It does tend to follow the tracks in the road. If you go over road signs, if you like, the white signs, it does follow them a
Yeah.
little.
Yeah.
You don't get that with the Kawasaki,
Right.
but it's
So
possibly.
maybe in the wet then that might be a bit of an issue.
I don't think it's going to
Possibly.
see that
I don't think it
that
is
much
gonna be.
rain, to be honest.
No, exactly. And the wife would like it on the back here. That's
Yep,
quite a
that's
nice
big
seat.
enough.
That's a big one.
Big
as
enough
well,
with
isn't it?
Lender, is that?
Oh, hey, steady. So basically, we need to recap a little bit, and I need to get some pros and cons from you.
Yeah,
You remember the Harley?
I do.
could
Not
you forget
fondly.
it? No.
Not fondly.
So good points. There must be
Good.
some.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a Harley.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes with a huge heritage.
Yes.
The engine is strong. It's powerful. The clutch is very heavy. But that said, when you're on the open road, it really does pull.
Yeah.
You know, it does handle well.
Mm-hmm.
Not, I would say, towards a cruiser market. More towards somebody would be considering a Bandit.
Yeah.
You know, a Hornet, something like this.
Yeah.
You know, more of a muscle bike.
Right.
It's that. Not really for what I was looking for.
Right. The Drifter.
Lovely ride.
Right.
It's smooth. There's a lot of technology in this engine.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot on the bike. Everything just falls to hand. Everything feels comfortable,
Yeah.
and it rides really well.
Negative points.
It's aesthetics. It's as simple as that. I mean, this
Yeah.
is.
You
this
don't
is when
like
it-
all this black stuff, do
No,
you?
it's when it comes down to personal taste now. I mean, there's so little to separate between the bikes.
Yeah.
It's purely about personality. I'm not sure as I like the dark colours on the metalwork.
Yeah.
The spats, I think, are a little over the top. But in
Yeah.
itself, very, very capable cruiser.
Yeah. Right. Well, we're going to need to know which one you are going to or would go for. But before we hear from you, we need to hear from our Dickie, who's going to give you a little recap.
Lovely.
Okay?
Well, Darren, you didn't sound too impressed with our Harley-Davidson 1200 Sportster. You said it felt heavy and awkward. And as you rightly say, it's not just the bike that you'd be buying, it's all of the heritage and tradition that comes with that famous name. But will you surprise us all and cough up the £7,000 asking price? Or will you choose the unusual 1940s styling of Kawasaki's 1500 Drifter with its smooth 1470cc V-twin motor? You certainly like the riding characteristics of the Drifter, but as we all know, with a custom cruiser, you aren't just buying a bike, you are also buying an image. This one is on offer at £6,500. Or perhaps you'll choose the cheapest of our trio, Suzuki's Intruder. You found it comfortable and relaxed to ride, and it's got enough chrome to make it a true custom cruiser. This bike has really been absolutely nowhere. Having covered less than 1,000 kilometres, it's as good as new, and it's yours for £6,000.
So Darren, you just heard Richard there with the recap. Put me out of my misery, would you please, and tell me which one it's going to be.
It's going to have to be the Intruder. It is.
I thought you were going to say that.
I just think it's the prettiest of the three.
Definitely.
For my mind.
Yeah.
It's good value for money.
It's the cheapest.
It is.
It doesn't look the cheapest, but you are going to be very popular when you get home.
Yeah, it's more money to spend on other things.
Exactly, like your wife. But yeah, it doesn't though, does it? I mean, you know,
No,
it's £6,000. It looks.
I think you get a lot of bike for your money.
You do.
For £6,000, it's tremendous, is that?
Right. Fantastic. Well, there you go. Another satisfied customer. Thank you, Darren. Well, that's it for this week's show. Join us next week for some more used bike heaven. See you then. You're going to have to get your polishing cloth out for this, you know.
I know.
On Used Bike Heaven next week, we'll meet Nigel Green, who's on the lookout for a naked muscle bike. There'll be more workshop advice from Gary, another used bike test, and more advice on the used bike market.